All right, good evening. I'd like to welcome everyone to the August 7th meeting of the Walton County Planning Commission. Thank you for being with us tonight. If there happen or you find yourself not being able to attend one of our meetings and you would like to be able to observe or be a part of that, you're welcome to join us on Walton County Facebook Live. That is a live feed each and every month. The cases that are heard here tonight will be heard by the Board of Commissioners on September the 2nd, and then the Planning Commission, our next meeting will be September the 4th. At this time, I am going to ask Tim Kemp if he would please open us in prayer, and after that, if you all would please join us for the pledge.
Let us bow. Heavenly Father, we come before you this evening in thanksgiving and praise. Heavenly Father, thank you for giving us this opportunity once more to make decisions on this county in which we live and this great state in which we live. Heavenly Father, lead us, guide us, and direct us in our thoughts and our vision as we lead this county. In your holy name we pray. Heavenly,
Please join us for the pledge. All right, I appreciate that. So at this time, I'd like to call this meeting to order and begin our agenda for the evening. First, I would like to say that all members are present tonight with the exception of Josh Ferguson. And also members of the board, if you had a chance to review the minutes from last month and there's no changes or errors, omissions, I will take a motion for approval of those minutes.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we accept the minutes as is.
All right, I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye and raise your right hand. Aye. Thank you so very much. All right, so if you guys, which everyone I'm sure has a cell phone, if we could get you to silence those for them so we wouldn't be interrupted, just check them. We would greatly appreciate that. And I want to take just a couple of minutes to discuss the protocol of the meeting. So I'm going to call up the applicant for each case, and the applicant will present the case as to what they plan, what their plans are for the property. After they have done so, I will recognize anyone here who is in opposition. The timetable we have set for our meeting is 10 minutes, and that's 10 minutes total. So if you're going to get up and speak, and there's several people potentially that are speaking regarding the same request, if you could have one person that speaks, or be very, very mindful of the time limit so that we can move our agenda forward for the evening. Once the opposition has spoken, I will give an opportunity for anyone who is a proponent of the request to speak, and then ultimately for the applicant to have time of rebuttal. And then at that point, we'll bring that back to the board and we'll make a decision. A little added step, only because I feel like sometimes if things are presented in front of us, we're a bit tempted. So let me explain our positions here. None of us are elected officials. We're all appointed by one of the district commissioners and then one person at large. And so we choose, if we're asked, to serve in that capacity for the district that our commissioner represents. That being said, and that we are not elected officials, I think there was a pretty interesting meeting that was held here on Tuesday night, and some people were happy and a lot of people were not. We're not here for that tonight. We're simply tasked with listening to the request of the applicant, making a decision based on the land use of this county if their request is suitable and meets our code. That's what we're tasked with, and we'll make a recommendation. That'll go to the Board of Commissioners. The Board of Commissioners will hear the case next month, and they will ultimately make a decision. So anything that has to do with operations of the county or anything else, we have nothing to do with any of that. So I'm going to ask you as a courtesy to us that we agree to do this, and to represent that if we could just leave that out of the subject matter and take care of business tonight, we would all greatly appreciate that, and thank you so much for doing it. So with that, we will move forward with our agenda for the evening. We do have one case that falls under old business. This is LU 25-0063 and Z 25-0062. This is a land use change from suburban to highway corridor to rezone 7 acres from R1 to B2 for a mini storage facility. The applicant is Angel Zarita. The owners are Pablo and Maria Zarita. Property is located at 257 Highway 81. Are the applicants here? Okay, if you would step up, please, to the podium, tell us what your plans are and the use of the property. Also, make sure you give us your name and address.
My name is Angel Zarita. I live at 80 Payton Street, Covington, Georgia. I'm here to request rezoning for a property located at 257 Highway 81, Oxford, Georgia. There's a decent amount of information in this, so I'm going to kind of skim through it just to kind of keep everything moving quickly. I'm free to dive into the details as you guys see fit. Project summary, it's located at 257 Highway 81, Oxford, Georgia, 7 acres, currently zoned R1. We're requesting to be zoned to B2. Commercial for the use of a mini warehouse and self-storage. It'll be a local family-owned business. This is the site development. So this is to give a little bit of context as to where we intend on laying everything out on the property. Because of several setback requirements due to being off of Highway 81 and a pond being on the property, we're forced to move most of the building towards the rear of the property. So the front 2 acres, these are all approximations, but approximately it'll be mostly the pond and buffer area for that. At the lower portion of what you can see on this image is the mini warehouse. That'll be for a drywall distributor, about 20,000 square feet. North of that would be our intended self-storage buildings, which would be 4 buildings total, again, approximately 2 acres. And then around the rear of the property, we have about 1 acre of setbacks and other buffers that we have to maintain. So this is just to get a better idea of what we intend on doing. The building details, we got 4 building mini storage buildings that we intend on developing there. Largest one being 7,200 square feet, smallest one being 2,600 square feet. The mini warehouse for the drywall distributor would be about 100 by 200 feet, approximately, to get us our 20,000 square feet. I'm currently working on getting professional renderings done so we can provide a better visual. Throughout this, we'll maintain our 50-foot transitional buffer, 15-foot setbacks on our sides, maintain all required setbacks for the pond. We'll plan to remove as few trees as possible and have a 6-foot black vinyl coated fence around the property. One of the main concerns that I was aware of during our last meeting was crime. This is just a couple of statistics kind of going into there's no real correlation between crime increase and storage facilities. Some residents believe that self-storage facilities attract criminal activity and increase neighborhood crime rates. I've got a couple of different statistics there. Some quotes from the Wichita Falls Police Department saying that with proper security measures, law enforcement calls are reduced by as much as 60%, and we intend on applying those security measures. The real cause of crime increase, not a huge thing, but it's just Walton County's growing a lot. The good news is that storage facilities don't contribute to this trend. Here's just a couple of statistics based on, population growth and just referencing a growth timeline. Again, just trying to paint a better picture of it's not necessarily correlated to storage facilities. It's more just there's more people. It's just one of the unfortunate realities of it. Good news is that Walton County remains safer than the national average and state average. So doing a great job there. Our commitment is to establish partnerships with Walton County Sheriff's Office and local police to including regular patrol stops, direct communication lines, property access codes, collaboration on best security practices. We will implement the following security measures: perimeter fencing, 6-foot black chain link fence, high-resolution safe security cameras, coded access, controlled entry, motion sensor systems, professional monitoring, alarm systems with multi-layer protection. And this is just a statement saying, you know, I live in this community as well. So it is our highest priority to maintain our reputation, but also our neighbors' safety. Market context. There was a concern that there are a lot of storage facilities in a 5-mile radius. There's only 3 real comparable storage facilities, all of which are much larger than what we intend on developing. We're only going to have 4 small buildings. And yeah, there's a growing demand for storage services, which creates room for small local operators like ourselves. We will be the smallest operation in the immediate area with only 4 buildings compared to the 3 much larger operations nearby. Traffic, I know we don't really discuss traffic here, so I'm going to skip over that. Visual impact, that was one of the concerns that I was made aware of as well. This is, again, just trying to provide more context. There is about a 20-foot elevation drop on the front portion of that entire lot, from the highest portion being where our driveway's at. By the time you get to the far end of it, you're about 20 feet down. So it provides natural screening, that plus the buildings being pushed towards the rear of the property because of all the setbacks. I think visually it won't affect anything too much. Our goal is to maintain as many trees as possible. And again, I couldn't say exactly how many or anything like that, but we want to keep that natural screen to kind of not make too much of a change as far as visually when you're coming down 81 on either side. And again, to provide more context, we do have a gas station to the left of us, an animal feed store to the right. The only neighbor that's directly affected by this is Mr. West Kent. He's been a huge proponent of this. He's given us the access easement for this. So he's been a great neighbor the whole time. And yeah, request for approval supporting Walton County Smart Growth. We respectfully request approval for R1 to B2. This project represents responsible commercial development with balance that balances economic opportunity with community values. Our commitment is to implement comprehensive security measures, maintain law enforcement partnerships, protect the pond area with the proper setbacks, try to maximize tree preservation, maintain open community communication. Why this makes sense? Meets a growing demand. Walton County's population growth creates legitimate storage needs. It's appropriate location, 2 existing commercial neighbors on Highway 81, which is, I would consider commercial corridor just because it connects downtown Covington to downtown Loganville. It's a local investment, family-owned business, and it'll be jobs, tax revenue, and community service. Thank you for your consideration. We look forward to answering your questions. I did want to add a note that we also need a recommendation to to grant a waiver on the cross-district access through the R1 zone property.
Correct. Thank you. Any questions from the board?
Yes, do you plan any outside storage?
No, sir.
Okay. And what kind of security are you going to have around the place as far as fencing?
We'll have a 6-foot chain link vinyl coated fence. It'll have gates at both the drywall building entrance as well as these mini storage.
And that'll be as you stated, that'll be a coded, gated entry.
Correct.
Right. And I'm going to assume that that'll probably, being coded, gated, will be 24-hour access.
Correct.
But obviously for only those with the code.
Yes.
Kind of, you know, in the past, it's been quite some time, and actually was not here. It was elsewhere, but sometimes you get an argument of concern. I just want to cover this, even though it's not been brought up. An argument of concern with, people being in there 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And it was pointed out to me, there's people who work night shift and third shift, and their only opportunity to go to their unit is at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. So just something myself I had not really ever pondered, but I can see where that's true. Any additional questions? One more. On the perimeter of the property with the existing trees and stuff that's there, in your preliminary for maybe cut and fill ratios, is there any reason that the majority of that cannot be left intact?
Our goal is to leave as much as possible. I don't know of any reason in particular why it wouldn't be.
Okay.
The only thing, I mean, again, because of the setbacks due to the pond, really, it eats up a large portion of that space. And on the rear side of the property is a 50-foot buffer as well. So
Yep, thank you.
those are the things that, we're required to maintain either way.
Yes, sir.
Our preliminary cut and fill, we don't need that.
Okay, you don't need that. So the existing timber that's there, trees and so, they could be left there. Thank you, thank you. Any additional questions? Appreciate it. Anyone here in opposition to this request? I'm going to start in the very back with the gentleman that's got the same hair color as me, the same problem on top with the blue shirt.
Just got a hole in the net.
No, the guy behind you. You know I'm talking about you. You raised your hand. Oh, okay. Oh, okay, all right. Oh, okay, well, I appreciate it. I just want you to see that I acknowledged you. Yeah. Oh, okay, all right. Please state your name and address for the record.
William Kirkland, 265 Old Highway 81.
All right. It's just one. No, it's,
Our property actually butts up against the proposed property.
yes, sir.
So our property actually butts up to the proposed property, so that it does affect us. We do. Okay.
We're going to try to get an overlay.
Okay. Okay. So this is our property, right? Right here.
Okay?
So it does butt up to here. A lot of these trees have been taken down at this point. So we can see, especially during the fall, back into this property, even with the,
So you took the trees off of your property?
correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Mother
Oh,
Nature
okay.
did. We had a
Well, they're
tornado
gone.
kind of come through there.
Yeah, they're gone. Okay,
Yeah,
I
they're
got you.
gone. So we can see that. A few things that we do have issues with, just concerning, one, the visibility of it, is two, the property is surrounded on three sides by residential agriculture. We do see that, businesses are coming in, they're buying up residential land just for the purpose of rezoning and putting businesses in there. That's one concern that we do have.
Just for clarity, because I want to make, you said the property that they're requesting is adjoined
Right.
on three sides by residential properties.
Yep.
Was one of the neighbors not a
Residential.
convenience store?
That is a convenience store right there. That is, okay.
Yeah, I see the convenience store that's just up above them. Okay.
So
So
you
that,
have
so they have residential properties on two sides?
Right. So
Okay.
residential on two sides, agricultural across right here. So yeah, so most of the area is residential and agricultural. We do have one business right here and one right up here, would be one, the gas station. So, yeah, one of our main concerns is just that people are coming in, buying residential land, cheaper price, we know what it is. They're buying cheaper price instead of going to commercial and putting their business there. There's plenty of commercial land in this area, so that is a concern. Other than that, land is purchased about a year and a half ago, we believe for the sole intent of just making it commercial. Applicant states it is not allowed for the commercial rezoning to go through. It would limit the money-making potential of the property. Well, it's residential, it's not really money-making property anyway. So that's another concern. The Google search on the area, you can find about 33 different self-storage units in the area. So there is plenty of storage in this area. I know right up at 81, they're expanding some storage areas up there. Health and safety concerns. As an ex-firefighter, I can tell you that going into storage buildings, that was a concern. That was a major concern, and even in the remarks from public safety, that was one of their concerns on this. Another one is the large trucks entering the area, and it's just on 81. This is on a hill, so if you have a large truck coming in and out of that area, it's going to be a potential for catastrophe. Noise, the impact on the lighting is another concern that we have. The 24-hour access. I know I have bees in my backyard. A bunch of other people are beekeepers in our area. That's a concern. The privacy concern, of course, just that we can see into their area and they can see into ours. Another one was during the last time that there was a concern about the access going from a residential area into a commercial area. I guess that's one, they're asking for the variance on that this time. So that is one of the things that we were wondering about. And other than that, that was it.
Thank you, sir. Any questions?
Oh, and we do have signed petitions.
People that shouldn't be here, they sign petitions.
Yes, ma'am. If you want to leave those with Ms. Sharna right there, I would greatly appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. You absolutely can. Thought I was going to have to beg you. State your name and address for us, please, sir.
Yes. Oh, yeah, I'm John Deaton, and I actually own the property right beside them. I don't know how to do this. Is it touch or? With the mouse. Let's see. I don't know where is it? There it is. That property there.
So you're to the rear and a neighbor to the gentleman that just spoke,
Right,
correct?
yes.
Okay.
But, yeah, the question I was curious, and I don't really understand, when they were here before, the drive is actually coming, let me get this out of here so you can see.
So you want me to take a second just to address that?
Yeah, that's something I don't really understand, because the entrance is coming
Okay.
through.
So they made, and we have this documented in our case, and that's the reason I'm wanting to take the time to explain. They made the application to Georgia DOT. I went to a continuing ed class today on license law, in which I learned, again, I have to really watch what I say. So Georgia DOT can be difficult.
I can imagine.
They made an honest effort to gain entry via the state DOT and were denied, but the DOT told them they would allow it on the adjacent property. I can't tell you why. I can't answer any of those questions. All I can tell you is they agreed to it. So they have gotten with that owner, and they have a recorded easement that they will use. So the hardship for them, which is what occurred, is the denial by state DOT for the entry at that location. Whether it was sight distance, whatever, they felt like that next door was better. And so for that reason, in the last, since we tabled it, they have been able to procure that easement and get DOT to agree to allow them to enter from that property. So the hardship has been relieved, and hopefully that answers your question.
Now, just to verify, though, that property is not being rezoned.
We're not asking, they don't have to have that. It's not going to be a requirement. The variance that we're working on and agreeing to, because of the hardship. If there wasn't a hardship, and the hardship being the denial letter, if there wasn't a hardship for utilization of the property, we would not consider it. But being that there was an implied hardship, then therefore we are considering the waiver that's been requested.
Okay. That answers my question then.
Thank you, sir. Somebody on this side of the room. Y'all, is anybody that hasn't had a question answered that still has something else they want to ask in opposition? Or, ma'am, do you have something back? Well, you'll have to come up here if you want to ask me something. I'm sorry. Okay, well, you come give us your comment, but I need you to walk up here for the record. Yeah, we like to have, I know you can. But you know, we like to have you on record. State your name and address, please.
My name is Eleanor Rogers, and I live at 370 Old Highway 81 Southeast, which is an Oxford address.
How far away from this property is that?
So our house is at the end of Snook Thompson Road. So you come out Snook Thompson Road and you turn right, and that's where the feed and tax store is.
So is it a half a mile,
It's a quarter of a mile.
quarter of a mile? Okay, all right, that's what I need.
And I just want to ask you not to approve this. We have lived out there for 38 years. We love it out there. It's quiet. We don't have any crime. We don't have any issues out there. And I'm just asking that you not approve this.
Yes, ma'am.
I mean, we just, would you want that in your backyard?
Understood. Thank you. Any other questions for this person? No. Anyone else to speak in opposition? Anyone to speak as a proponent for the applicant that would like to speak on the applicant's behalf? If not, I'll allow the applicant to come back up for rebuttal.
I'm Jason Brown with Georgia Civil. I've been prepared the site plans, and I just wanted to touch on what you mentioned about the hardship. It's absolutely to do with the site distance. The only point in that area that you can get the site distance is on that adjacent property, which was why Angel was working, had been working with the property owner all along. I think the holdup before comes back to it was an adjacent property owned by somebody else. It's the need for this cross access easement. But basically, that is the only point. And I worked, I think it's Christopher Hash with GDOT is who I talked with several times. So we had a lot of meetings about that. I had to show them road profiles. We surveyed up and down the road. But the exact location that we're proposing that driveway is the only point they can get the site distance. And that's for any type of development that might go there.
Right.
I just wanted to clarify that.
And I'm glad you said that, because even though I made the comment regarding GDOT, Christopher Hatch is a very good guy and a good guy to work with, and been very helpful in questions I've had over the years. So I appreciate you
And
mentioning.
like you said, their rules are pretty straightforward. I mean, it has to be, it's all or nothing.
Right, absolutely.
Site distance, so.
I've got the site plan up, and I put my glasses on, and I still can't exactly get what I'm looking for. The buffer that you have across the rear of the property where those, the two people who got up and spoke, you've got a buffer all the way across the rear of the property. Can you tell me the width of that, because I don't see it shown on here?
Maybe, is it 50?
Yeah, it's 50 foot.
Oh.
And that's the transitional buffer that's required between.
Yeah, it's just so small I can't read it.
Yeah,
so-
I got you. But I think it's 50 feet.
Okay.
Speaking of
Yeah, Angel, I don't know if you could hear him. He just mentioned there's also a pretty significant elevation change across the back of that property too.
Okay. Any issues with all lighting on that property being down lighting? Okay. Anything you put on the building, poles, whatever, will all be directed downward? Okay. Any other questions for the applicant?
Just touching on that as well, we intend on using motion-activated systems, so it's not, well, our intention is to, both to preserve power, but also to minimize the light disruption, is to have it on a motion sensor as needed.
Thank you. Any additional questions?
I have just one. Can any of the residents see your buildings from their house?
I don't think so. I believe their houses are towards the front of the property, but I haven't been on their property to see.
They're kind of shaking their.
Well, and I looked at, I looked at the house locations up there, and that's a long ways from me as well. But based off of your draft, it looks like those are probably 12 or 1,400 feet deep, those lots.
I think so. But again, I mean, From what I've seen, the houses are towards the very front of the properties.
Well, I mean, I can see that on the drawing, but I'm just looking at the depth of the lots. They look to be about 1,200 or 1,400 feet deep. 900? Okay, well, I'm a long ways from that picture up there, so, Sharna, what's that one?
That's 837, right?
837. So 800, 900 feet from the houses at the street to the property, and then an additional, you said 50 feet buffer. Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions? Thank you, sir.
Sir, thank you.
All right, so at this time, I will bring this case back to the board for a motion.
I make a motion to approve case number LU 25-0063 and Z 250062 and grant the variance request to allow cross-district access to adjoining property zoned R1 and all lighting to be down lighting only and no outside storage.
Thank you. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. All in favor, raise your right hand and say aye. Aye. And this will go to the Board of Commissioners next month on September 2nd. All right. Moving forward, under new business, Z250249 to rezone 2.4 acres from A1 to A to grow and sell cut flowers for retail and wholesale purchase. The applicant is CJ Hips Barrows, and the owner is CJ and Nicholas Hip Barrows. The property is located at 3685 McCullers Road. Is the applicant here? All right, ma'am, if you want to make your way up and give us your name and address before you get started, let's let those folks exit real quick if you don't mind. Okay, carry on.
Hi, my name's CJ Hip Barrows. I'm the property owner at 3685 McCullers Road. This is my primary residence. I live there with my family, our young daughter, and pets. I would like permission to grow flowers for sale on the property. The property's fenced in for our privacy and security. No other changes other than growing flowers instead of grass.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for the applicant from the board?
Yes, so you've got mentioned here that you want to sell the cut flowers for both retail and wholesale. Do you anticipate a lot of traffic? Are you going to advertise this and potentially have a lot of traffic coming to your house to buy the flowers?
So it being my primary residence, no, I'm not interested in having traffic at my home. No, I mean, there may be some customer interactions potentially. Sometimes a florist would pick up from a farm, but I don't anticipate, I don't know. I'm not going to be open to the public, like I don't know, I just think of Chick-fil-A when people are cars lining up, so I don't think so.
Okay.
How many are you anticipating?
I'm sorry?
How many people do you anticipate coming per day or week?
Very few and not every day. The only thing important about my request to me is the permission to grow the flowers for sale. Anything else is flexible as to where and how I sell.
So,
Yeah.
if it were, I can understand what you're saying, that florists may come and pick up And that could be a pickup for them once a week, twice a week, whatever, in season.
Yeah.
If it's not in season, they're not going to be picking up. You're not going to grow in, you're not establishing greenhouses, or you are going to have greenhouses?
There's already, when I purchased the property a year ago, there was already a 10 by 12 greenhouse.
Okay, so pretty small.
Pretty small.
Pretty small, okay. And so, potentially with no public sales, but with permission to have wholesale to florists, that would be important to you.
That would be important.
But the on-site public sales would not.
So as far as volume goes, I would prefer it happen at a lot of times flower farms partner with other local businesses to host the pre-made bouquets, like a coffee shop or a bakery. So I think that would be a more appropriate location if someone were to drop in. I would prefer, there is a possibility of being able to offer neighbors a farm stand that I understand is a culturally normal thing for farms to do. It wouldn't be my primary sales outlet, and again, it's optional, based on the rules and parameters
Yeah, well.
given to me.
And with agricultural zoning, those are somewhat prevalent throughout the county, so. Any other questions? Thank you, ma'am. Anyone opposed to this request? Is there anyone to speak on behalf of the applicant? No need for you to come back for rebuttal. I will take a motion from the board.
I'll make a motion to approve case number Z25-0249.
As submitted. Second?
A second.
Have a second. All in favor, raise your right hand and say aye. Aye. This will move to the Board of Commissioners September 2nd, okay? Thank you, ma'am. Next on the agenda for the evening is Z250250. This is to rezone 7.27 acres from A1 to A to grow vegetables and livestock for nonprofit organizations and educational tours. The applicant is Henry G. Reed Jr. The owners are Chance and Eva Reed. Property is located at 611 Youth Jersey Road. Is the applicant here? Sir, if you would please step up, give us your name and address, tell us what your plans are for the property.
Good evening. My name is Hank Reed. This is my son, the property owner, Chase Reed. I'm known in many communities in Gwinnett as Chef Hank. We run an organization, it's a nonprofit organization called Let 'Em Eat. It's a meal ministry program. We've been blessed with this property over in Walton County, 7.27 acres, and our intent is mostly agritourism. We would like to develop and grow crops to support our nonprofit that feeds, that has fed over 500,000 meals since 2019. We definitely see this as an opportunity to continue to expand our ministry in many counties, and also an opportunity for agritourism to educate and teach young people about, rural areas and farming. We have an intention to not only grow crops, but also to share these crops with individuals, as well as some of the produce and the things that we've done throughout the community. If you don't mind, Chase has a document, just some information about our organization to talk a little bit more about Let 'Em Eat, one of our other fundraising components, and our intentions with the Let 'Em Eat Specialty Farm at 611 Youth Jersey Road. It's a Covington address. So, again, like I said, on the 7.2 acres, we have probably about 5 acres of pasture, which we plan to keep and maintain. There is an area behind the house that we plan on greenhouses so that we could do year-round seedling growth and different things like that. We're not farmers. We love the idea and the intent, but one of the reasons why we've had so much success with Let 'em Eat in our organization is through partnerships. And we've had quite a bit of conversations with some people out here in the Walton County community. We've been welcomed with open arms. We definitely consider it a blessing to be out here. And also some of the educational facilities in Gwinnett we've utilized, like Gwinnett Tech and some of the resources we have with the University of Georgia Agricultural. So we definitely plan to take all the help, advice, and resources of the community and some of the ones we've already kind of procured to help us develop this property, including some farm developers also. So it is just basically our intent to maintain the rural characteristics of the property. We're definitely excited about the fact that most of the residents out here like it the way it is. And, you know, we come from Gwinnett County to where it's not like that anymore. So, you know, some of the things that people have told us is about being a blessing to be a neighbor. Some of our neighbors is, I'm sure they just didn't want someone moving in and being a developer and building 50 homes on 7 acres. So that's definitely not our intent. We're excited to be here once again, and you know, our general goal is to continue to maintain that property as is, develop it, grow crops, share the crops, and share any kind of educational components we can with young people so that they can understand where their food comes from.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate that. Any questions from the board?
Yes, regarding the livestock, I just want to know what type of livestock and how many of the livestock.
Initially, small hooved animals, goats, you know, some people don't really like cows because they're kind of big, but basically what we want is to have animals out there so when young people and kids come out, we can not only have them have that experience, but also show how they benefit the ecosystem in rural areas and farms. So chickens, pigs, goats, ducks, things like that, and a beautiful Great Pyrenees.
How many goats do you think you would have?
Right now we have 5, and that's a good number for us. But with, you know, 7 acres, there's a lot of land there, but we do have intent and plans for other things. So, you know, our growth depends on what the needs are of the property.
Sharna,
Yes,
current zoning A1,
right,
livestock's in,
for fenced acre.
right, and chickens are in.
Chickens are in.
So under the current zoning, he can have those livestock?
Yes, he
He
can.
can have them there right now. Thank you.
There's a limit though, isn't there?
4 per
Isn't there a
fenced
limit
acre.
on the number of livestock?
4 per fenced acre.
So you'd have to be sure and go by the county code on that,
Yes,
on the livestock. Okay.
right. The entire property is fenced.
And the livestock is just for tours, right?
Yes.
You're not going to be raising livestock to sell?
Beg your pardon?
You're not going to be raising livestock to sell?
No.
Okay.
And there is an intent for, like I said, the greenhouses so that we could do year-round, you know, seedling growth and things like that.
Right.
Standard agricultural practice.
Yes.
Understood. Thank you.
You plan to partner with the schools?
Yes. We actually have partnerships with our other organizations in Gwinnett County, longstanding partnerships with our meal ministry program, culinary programs, producing meals and stuff like that. So our intent in the area is to partner and again, just educate, you know, the kids in the school system on farming.
Thank you. Any additional questions? Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Is anyone here in opposition to this request? Is anyone here to speak on behalf of the applicant as a proponent of this request? If not, then I will bring it back to the board for a motion.
I make a motion to approve case number Z25-0250 with the stipulation that the only livestock they have is for the tours, and they follow the county guidelines on livestock, and no commercial sales of their vegetables grown only for the nonprofit organization.
Okay, I have a motion. I have a second. All in favor, raise your right hand and say aye. Aye. So you'll be heard by the Board of Commissioners September 2nd, okay? All right. Next on the agenda for the evening is to rezone 84.16 acres from A1 to A2, or, excuse me, to rezone from A1, A2 to R1 OSC for a residential subdivision. The applicant is Reliant Homes, the owner, Alcovey Builders Incorporated, and,
We were going to move that one to the last.
oh, we're going to do that one last?
Please.
Well, I wasn't going to change it because the applicant's here, and my request was to change it because he
Well,
wouldn't be here.
The request is because when he goes to the Board of, this meeting doesn't affect his service on the Board of Education, but the Board of the Commissioners meeting will. So if we put him last, Rhonda
Okay.
will put him last.
Hook up and punt. LU 250256 and rezone Z 250257. This is a land use change from employment center to suburban to rezone 121.43 acres from A1 to A1 OSC for a residential subdivision. The applicant is JW Residential Group LLC. The owner of the property is 3SD LLC. The property is located on Row Road and Highway 78. Is the applicant for this one here? Please give us your name and address, please, ma'am.
All right, my name is Jessica Cantrell. I am with Underwood Scoggins, and we are in Cumming, Georgia. And the applicant and owners are behind me, and I'll let them give you their address. John and Emma Shadrack, we're at 2509 Bold Springs Road, Monroe.
Shadrack.
Shadrack, yes, sir.
That means I know your father and you've grown up and I don't recognize you. God, now I feel old. I am old. Thank you, Wesley.
Right. All right, so there are two applications pending before you. One is for a rezoning from the A1 to a 2400 overlay, and the other one is for a land use character area map change from the employment center to suburban. Ooh, this is sensitive, so please forgive me. Tracy, what did I tell you? The technology isn't going to work. All right, so if you'll look, this is the land that we are talking about. This is right off of Row Road and 78. It is 121 acres, plus or minus about 0.4. There we go. Right now, this is the character area map of Walton County. You'll see that right there in the circle, in the red circle, that is where the property is located. And out to the side, you'll see that it is right now in the employment center area. And it is surrounded by areas that are already classified as suburban. You'll see that the employment center contemplates the larger scale commercial, industrial, office, retail services. Its zoning compatibility for employment center is neighborhood business, highway business, general business, with the appropriate land uses being commercial, office, and industrial. Suburban, which we propose that the character area is changed to, is A1, which it is currently zoned as. And the appropriate land uses for the suburban character area are residential, agricultural, public general, recreation, and mixed use. So there are a couple justifications for the character area map amendment. First being that this property has a lack of access to Highway 78. There are about 5 other parcels of land that separate it from Highway 78. There is only one tiny sliver right there that gives it access to Highway 78. You went to a continuing ed class with Georgia Department of Transportation. You know,
No, I went with GREC, G-R-E-C.
Well, you know as well as I do, Georgia Department of Transportation is not going to give an access road right there to any businesses that are going to develop or try to use this land as currently zoned in an employment district area. So all commercial traffic would have to use Row Road as an access point if this were to continue to be a character or an employment center character area. The other justification to change it to suburban is the environmental factors. The proximity of the Alcovy River, the wetlands, and other environmentally sensitive areas does not support the development of the property into commercial uses or for commercial uses. The intense uses that commercial properties would need would result in significant increases in water runoff because of the impervious surfaces that all the concrete would have to have. You would have the mass clearing of trees and lands, the grading of lands, which would affect the stream buffers. So compared to the proposed residential neighborhood where these sensitive areas would be protected and preserved with the open space, this is a better use for the property and the character area. So this is what the proposed area would look like with the development. That green would be the preserved open space and the protected environmentally safe areas. That's about 40 acres out of the 121 acres would be designated to open green space and preserving and protecting that area. Oop, did I just go back? Sorry. So several of the properties in the immediate area are already similar in size, shape, location. They've already been rezoned and recently developed into residential neighborhoods. And there are also other properties that have a closer proximity to Highway 78 that are in a better position for commercial use. So this is the current zoning map of Walton County. And again, our property is highlighted in the blue. And you'll see what the other properties around it are zoned as. and their access to Highway 78. This is the proposed rendering of what the residential development would look like, minus the drawn green space. So, moving on to the rezoning from A1 rural estate to the 2400 residential overlay. So the 2400 residential overlay, the purpose and intent is to authorize the, subject to certain standards, of course, the development of residential subdivisions that require larger houses, as well as making sure that the A1 characteristics of preserving the rural character area is still maintained. So that's what's happening with Banks Crossing, which is what this residential neighborhood will be called. So with the 2400 overlay, Banks Crossing is going to be 54 single-family lots. All lots will be at least 25. May I keep going, or?
Oh, that was the timer.
Yeah.
No, you have to let her go.
Huh?
She can continue on. She can have, the 10 minutes is reserved for.
For the, yes,
So she
okay.
can go ahead and explain her.
Thank you.
I will speed it up.
No, you're good.
You can blame Walker Park Schools to,
I do have a question while you're
absolutely.
right there. This is septic,
Yes,
yeah, because we don't provide sewer.
absolutely, no,
So
this is septic.
the minimum lot at 25.5, it would have to be greater than 25.5 because, no?
No, that's the allowed lot size.
Yeah.
What's the required for septic and repair?
25,500.
Okay. And the house site can be within the,
Yes,
I did not think it could be within the
Yes.
repair area. Oh,
you can, yeah.
was that not changed to 27? No.
Not according to the ordinances.
Well, no. Carry on.
But, so, all lot sizes are 25.5. The density will know like 1 unit per 2 acres. That's what's required for the 2400 overlay. And in this case, it's 1 dwelling per 2.24 acres. That's what the density in Banks Crossing is.
Right.
So these homes are going to be 3 to 5 bedrooms, 2.5 to 4 bathrooms with 2 to 3 garages. And there will be a homeowners association with their own covenants and restrictions. There's a proffered set of conditions, and these are not the houses that will be used in this particular Banks Crossing. These are the homes that the developer has used in their latest development, but we wanted to show you because the homes in Banks Crossing are actually going to be bigger than these homes right here, because each home has to be at least 2,400 square feet. But I wanted to show you what the quality of work that the developer.
And can I back up just a second? Because I want to correct what all of your lots are not 25.5. They're all a minimum of 25.5.
Right.
But they're not all 25.5.
Correct, no.
That's the point I was trying.
Minimum lot size has to be 25.5.
Right, for anybody that's
They're a
in,
bigger lot.
right, for anybody who is listening to this, I want them to understand that
Thank
they're
you.
not, it said that the lots are 25, but
No,
that means a minimum, they exceed that.
Correct.
Okay,
They are
that's what yeah,
at least 25.5.
yes, thank you.
Yes, yes. And thank you for helping me clarify that. All right. Any other questions?
So I visited the property. The request from, as far as the developer that's identified here, end user as well, will be building, developing and building? Okay. Kind of had this in a different scenario, but you've sat here tonight, so I think hopefully you can appreciate about what I'm about to ask you. Those adjacent properties out front that front Highway 78, there is potential in the future that those could be commercial uses. There's nothing to prohibit it, certainly state highway frontage. We all can attest on this board, because of what is allowable throughout our county for state highway corridor and the uses for commercial, that then where we really start getting static, if you want to say that, is from someone who bought adjacent or bought on a state highway, and it could have been a number of years ago, but those state highway corridors are the ones that develop, and certainly a 4-lane divided highway of 78, that use. You as the builder, I'm sure you have a realty company that sells your homes. Y'all typically use your own sales contracts. But I would like to ask you in this instance to include in there a disclosure that discloses that this neighborhood is being built adjacent to potential commercial properties. Let me tell you what that eliminates. When they sign that, or they sign their purchase and sale agreement, then I'm not saying they can't, they can come, but it allows them to acknowledge the same thing that we get when we're in a rural area and we put a neighborhood in a rural area. We want people to know they're buying homes in a neighborhood where agriculture is present. This would be very similar to that, but it would just be a disclosure that would simply state that the neighborhood is adjacent to highway corridor. Would you have a problem with that?
I'm going to look to her. I don't think we're going to have a problem with that, to disclose that.
Okay, I would, just because of proximity.
Right.
Yes.
Proximity, I can see where you're coming from. Yeah.
It's just a simple acknowledgement that that person acknowledges, I'm buying. And then if somebody comes back to us later and wants to put something commercial out front, those people are not blown out of the water. I bought right off of 78 Highway. I should have known there was going to be commercial. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I feel we have enough buffer there,
I agree.
to accommodate the homeowner.
I agree. I don't think it hinders you in any way, but what I do think is it causes that person to understand where they're at.
Yes, sir.
And I think that, we wouldn't have those, I'm talking at the state level, we wouldn't have those at the state level for agricultural disclosure if it weren't pertinent to those people who are purchasing. And this is, again, it's a little different, but I don't see where it's a hindrance to you guys at all. Matter of fact, we might find it's a blessing to you that you let those people know, so. Any other questions? Thank you all so very much. Is there anyone here in opposition to this request? Yes, sir. Come up, state your name, address, tell us what your concerns are.
Hi, I'm Danny Cook, 1369 Monroe Drive, Monroe, Georgia. And we're not opposed to the construction. We know it's coming. Everybody knows it's coming. We would like to just know and see if there's anything we can do as a community. And I'm representing Lake Monroe Landing, HOA, a lot of the neighbors. We've looked around and did some calculations. And the uniformity we'd like to see, we've got 78 to 138. It's a 2-mile road. And there's a lot of congestion and construction there. Not construction, but congestion getting out on 138 and 78. Every day is getting worse. But the building is fine. We would like to see or know and ask, can we have maybe even a meeting with the builder and get an understanding and clear up anything? We currently are looking at an average of that community, we're a tight-knit community, of 3.3, 3.8, 3.4 acres per lot currently, and we're at 3,600 square foot average in the homes. We're not expecting that, but is there anything that y'all said 2,400 was a minimum, but what is your average? Are you going to be looking at a lot of 2,400s and a few, in the bigger developments or bigger lots? We'd just like to have a better understanding, and if that meant having a meeting prior to the Board of Commissioners meeting, we would really appreciate it.
Thank you. Any questions for the opposition? Thank you, sir.
And one of I've dealt with GDOT some myself, and I'm not saying it'd be a pain, but should it be considered having access onto 78 because it's already bad enough. Anyway.
Yeah, and that's a right turn only coming off Row Road onto 78. So that, that really helps that intersection being right turn only, traffic-wise as far as accidents, whatever. I think that the state has corrected that intersection to already.
Tremendously, yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's my request.
And I wish you'd have went and sat down because I was having this thought and I wasn't going to say it. I know you're 2,400. I wish these were 1,800 square feet. No, for the young kids that can't afford housing today.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, young kids can't afford housing today, and they can't afford 2,800 and 3,000 square foot houses on 3 acres. It's $1.3 million. I mean, college graduates, they at a loss right now.
That whole 2 acres is primarily retirement age.
Yeah. Well, you're up there near the lake, right?
Yes.
Yeah. You live on the lake? I'll see you next week. I'll come over fishing. Anyone else to speak? Anyone else to speak in opposition?
Get his address, I'll bring my.
Yeah. Sir, are you coming up to speak in opposition? All right. Please state your name and give us your address. You didn't raise your hand.
I'm sorry.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I'm Jerry Rowe, 1320 Highway 138. I live at the other end of Row Road, where it comes out on 138.
Yes, sir.
Property on Row Road. Both my sons have property there, my cousins. It's named after us. My grandfather, actually. Not really in opposition to this, as much as to just throw a little cautionary, a little caution out there to you. The other end of the road is really bad with traffic. There are wrecks there, probably average close to 1 a month, people trying to turn into Row Road. This is going to throw another 100 and whatever cars onto Row Road, and they'll be coming out on the other end too, on 138. So I know you guys don't like to talk about traffic. You just like to say, well, that's the state, and let it go with that. But the county's involved in that too. And from the 78 end of Row Road to the 138 end, and if you visited out there and went through that road, there's a lot of curves, a lot of hills. I drive as fast as anybody through there. Lived there all my life. And a lot of folks are out walking, riding horses, that kind of thing on that road. So this is going to be an element of danger that you're adding to the traffic there. Just wanted to point that out. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? He raised his hand. Come on up, sir. Give us your name and address, please, sir. Tell us what your concerns are.
My name is Fred Thompson. I live at 1450 Monroe Drive in the Monroe Landing, Lake Monroe Landing. When I looked at could you put the
site plan?
Yeah, the site plan with the house lots up there again, please? That's all right.
That's it.
Okay, my question is, what is the width? I mean, look how deep the lots are on this side, and then how narrow they are. How far is the setback? Is there any governance on the setbacks? And how wide are those lots compared to the depth? It looks like
Well, that's engineering. In other words, the engineers took the property, did the division the very best they could to outlay or overlay the lots, and I'm speaking on your behalf, so you tell me, but you had soils done on the property. Did you go level 3? Level 3 soil study. The engineer overlaid the lots and designed the streets based on the terrain of the property. I'm going to say two things, and I haven't been out there. One, the green space that's shown on the back that's indicated in green usually is indicative that that's a wet area, wetlands. So the fall from that street, those lots, long, narrow lots, the rear of those lots, I'm going to say were probably not suitable for building, and therefore that's the reason you got the way that the layout. I hope that answers your question.
well, to some extent it does, but it seems to, well, the other question I wanted to ask is, will you have an HOA?
He did indicate there will be an HOA, and I'm going to ask you to do this. If you'll pose the questions to us, the board, then, no, and then he'll come up in rebuttal, but they did indicate there will be an HOA.
Okay. Do you know at this time whether there is a minimum max pricing of what your houses are going to sell for?
That would not be anything that would concern us as the board, nor is it anything that we would request.
Okay. Secondly, if you've got 54 houses, you're probably going to have 108 more cars that are going to be coming in and out of there constantly. When we get to Row Road into 78, you have to go right.
Correct.
Almost a mile, make a U-turn and come back.
Correct.
We go east as much as we go west. And the difficulty of that intersection is just a pain the way it was designed. Is there any possibility, since you're looking at putting another 108 cars coming in and out of that intersection, to putting a traffic light there, instead of having the inconvenience? And I realized somebody thought it was more safe to do it that way, and there were many accidents there prior to it being changed. But
So, yeah, and the gentleman before you alluded to this on the other end of the road regarding potential traffic there, and we often make the comment as our group here, our board, that we have no governance over traffic. And the reason that we make that statement is because it is true. We have nothing to do. So what will happen is on Row Road, there will be a traffic study, and if there's anything that's deemed necessary by Walton DOT, then that will be given to Sharna's department for development permitting. As far as the state DOT goes in that intersection, they're not asking for an entrance off of 78. So they would really not have any, they would have not a preference, no reason to ask the DOT to enhance or alter or change, and I doubt seriously they would get very far if they did.
One more question.
Go ahead.
Okay. In regard to the appearance of the homes that are being built in that subdivision, we have seen so many developers come in, and I don't know how long that pine forest has been in there. It's obviously a second growth forest, but there are also, I understand, some handsome trees back in there just as well. My question is it possible to employ an arborist and save the big handsome trees that are worth saving and not go in with bulldozers and scrape it off to make it easier to build and to have to go back and plant small trees that are at the most 10 feet high and hope they'll survive? I'd love to see the property improved if you're going to build that, but also have an arborist go in and maintain the quality of the green spaces or the trees that are there and not just scrape it off and start from scratch.
And, you know, I understand your concern. Yeah, I think if we were talking 5-acre lots on a rural road, that's quite easy and achievable. But when you have the width of these lots, side and rear setbacks, and I can tell you, he's not going to clear the rear of those deep lots because he don't want to have to pay somebody to do it, nor does he want to pay them to haul it off. He's going to clear enough to get a house in there, but due to the side and rear setbacks and the drive, at the front, at the street, he's not going to have a choice but to clear it because he's got to utilize everything there between the septic and building the home. But the rear of the lots, I feel like when he comes up, he's going to tell you he's probably not going to touch those trees. He don't want to pay to have them cleared. No reason to. He's not building back there. So, but there is a necessity where the street goes, utilities that has to be cleared. That's a have to. So, and the right of way for utilities. So, you know, there's a certain part of it, you have to take it down, but then I think there's probably going to be a reasonable, especially if you look, there's 40 acres that's left green space. So, and that can't be touched, by the way.
The utilities will be underground.
Yeah, no, I don't even think anybody does overhead anymore.
Okay.
I don't think Walton EMC will install it in the neighborhood.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else in opposition? I'm going to ask the applicant to come back up for rebuttal. I need the developer, yeah, I need you to come up. I got one thing I wanted to cover as we get to this part of it with you real quick.
All right. Mr. Hinton, you touched on a lot of the concerns. So I'm not going to necessarily rehash those. But yes, the green space is going to be preserved. And I know it's hard to see for everyone up here, but there's some ponds that take up the property. Some of the properties up here, the developer's not going to come in here and mass clear out trees. That's counterintuitive. A, it's cost prohibitive, and B, that goes against what the whole rezoning is for, with the overlay and trying to preserve the A1 rural district. They're wanting to build, you know, nice homes, but still preserve the characteristics of the A1 rural district. So there will be an HOA. As far as minimum and maximum pricings of houses, haven't gotten there yet. That's cart before the horse. Mr. Cook, I'll give you my card. Can't guarantee that we'll get anywhere because, again, cart before the horse. But I'll give you my card. No problem. Mr. Hinton, I believe you had some questions?
Yeah, so just a few things. First of all, to address where we're at now, they've requested a meeting, and typically I would like to have that prior to our meeting. But in this situation, I find it, quite fine. But I would like for you guys to have communication and get a time and place that you can talk with these folks, if you would do that before the Board of Commissioners meeting. I made an assumption a while ago. I'm sure the depth of those lots that you're going to leave everything on the rear. And no, yeah, I figured that. Your frontage on Row Road is woodlined, and we have 100-foot right-of-way all the way down that road that has to be adhered to. You're going to have that standing timber that's there now, and that within that right-of-way, other than your entry, where you're going to put your entry, would there be any reason for you to want to disturb the balance of those trees up and down the right-of-way?
No reason.
Okay, and so I'm going to ask that, and for your agreement here, that other than where your entry goes, that you would leave all of those trees along the right-of-way of Row Road.
Okay.
And secondly, when you put your entry in, that you have a monument signage, obviously, for that, and for the distance, whatever you're going to disturb along the right-of-way, that I'm talking from, that you would landscape that, have some trees, shrubs, nice landscaping, and some type of fencing, either in front or behind. I prefer behind that landscaping, just to the edge of where you're going to leave those trees. Would you be willing to do that?
Yes, sir.
We're really, for the aesthetic purposes of the county, we're really trying to do a better job at making sure that we are not neglectful, and we address the frontage of these neighborhoods, and I appreciate your willingness to work with us.
Yeah.
Any other questions for this applicant? Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone to speak on behalf of the applicant? Kind of bypass that. All right, if not, that comes back to the board. I'm going to make a motion for approval for this request as submitted. And I'm a very large proponent of the overlay district. I love to see this and appreciate you guys utilizing it on this property. I think it's a perfect property. I wrote the word down a while ago, preventative. And the reason I wrote that down is both of y'all were talking when we talk about me understanding this or looking at it as preventative. This property fronts 78 Highway. There's parcels out front. It would have been real easy for someone to have come in and put a massive industrial building right there on that corner. Yeah. And I think that would be much more unsightly. It would be much more evasive to you guys. And I understand that you have concerns with what he's doing, but I will say this is more preventative because now it prohibits that. And to you, for your willingness to have the disclosures, so it's a commercial corridor disclosure that you would have in each and every one of your purchase and sale agreements that would disclose that this is located within a commercial corridor. I appreciate your willingness to do that and also work with us on the entryway. And so with that, I'm going to make a motion for approval as submitted with the two things that I just mentioned, the disclosure as well as the upgrade to the entry. So that is my motion.
Mr. Chair, I second it.
I have a second. All in favor, raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
This will go to Board of Commissioners on September the 2nd. Thank you all so much. moving stuff. I like my agenda sheet. I like to read it off my agenda sheet. Done something with it. Okay, thank you. I'll find it in like 2 seconds. Okay. All right. Next on the agenda for the evening is rezone Z250253. This is to rezone 84.16 acres from A1, A2 to R1 OSC for residential subdivision. Applicant is Reliant Homes, Georgia LLC. The owner of the parcel is Alcovia Builders Incorporated. The applicant is here. Ned, if you would please step up, tell us what your plans are for this development.
My name is Ned Butler, address of 574 Conyers Road, Loganville, Georgia. I am representing Reliant Homes MFT Land Investment, which MFT is one of the landowners. There's another parcel we have under contract, if you look to the bottom right, where we have 13 acres that's currently owned by Alcovia Builders under contract to extend this neighborhood a little bit further out. The property is currently zoned, I believe, A1W, or let me look real quick. Zoned A1 on the right, on the east-hand side of Youth Jersey Road. It is a future land use map of suburban. On the west side, it is conservation, because the watershed break for Cornish Creek overlay is Youth Jersey Road. So we are looking to request the R1 OSC zoning on the east side track to look at doing a 70-lot subdivision that would fit within the future land use map. We are asking to develop it per the code, so no variances. The homes that we would put in there are 2,000 to 2,900 square feet. I've got renderings, pictures, brochures of those house plans. Currently building them in Red Oak subdivision in Loganville, if you'd like to drive by and take a look at those. To answer some questions I know that have come up tonight with previous rezones, you'll see under the site plan, we have the shaded area here along Youth Jersey Road. That is a 100-foot non-buildable buffer that's required by the county. That is completely wooded right now. We will not touch that area other than to install the decel lane and taper leaving the subdivision. So the remainder of those trees will be left. And honestly, looking at it, I think we won't get into any of those trees other than at the entrance because of the right-of-way is cleared back to the existing tree line. Also, you'll notice as we go around the northern side of the property, there is a 50-foot transitional buffer that we made open space along this section. There is no transitional buffer along this section because these properties are currently zoned R1. This is Isabella Plantation subdivision, and then these are a group of lots that are currently being built by My Home Communities. We do pick up a 50-foot buffer here around this property because there is an A1 parcel right here. So we had to pick up and add that transitional buffer. And then we do also pick it up on this side of the property as we get back into adjoining A1 properties. So that 50-foot buffer will be there. It's open space, so it won't be touched. And it's currently trees, so they won't be cut down by us. As far as the entranceway, we are in agreement of landscaping back any areas that we touch. Again, I would expect any grading to occur from right here at the beginning of the decel lane and leaving here to the end of the taper. We typically sod that area back with trees, shrubs, so we have no issue with putting the landscaping back as you described in the previous zoning. My only thought is on the fence, we'll look at the possibility of doing that. I do want to look at the topo because it sits up high on the left-hand side. It sits a little bit lower on the right-hand side. So I really don't want to put a fence if it's sitting down in the hole, but if it's close to grade, we'll certainly look at doing that. I think that's all I have at this time. There will be a mandatory homeowners association. And I will reserve the rest of my time for questions and rebuttal.
And thank you. Any questions for the applicant? Thanks. Is anyone here in opposition to this request? Well, step up here, ma'am, and state your name and tell us what your address is, please, where we can get you on the record. Well, if you are, I'm going to tell you.
Okay, I'm hard of hearing, but I'm Judy Solomon. I'm from Mahan Road, 3318 and 3338 Mahan Road by the Animal Hospital. Is that where we're talking about?
Yes.
Okay, well, I'm talking about the right case then. Okay, I think that I'm not really against development, but I'm against 70 houses going in there because the lots are too small. That's not normal for that area of Walton County. That part of Walton County has bigger lots and bigger houses, and some of these lots are less than an acre. They're really small. And as far as traffic, they're going to come out on Youth Jersey Road, right up there near Mahan Road, and I don't know how in the world we'll get out. If they got 70 houses, everybody's got 2 cars, that's going to be 140 cars coming out right up there on Youth Jersey, real near Mahan Road, where I'm coming and going, and it's already hard to get out. So I think they need to be putting in less. They shouldn't be allowed to put in 70 houses in that little space of land.
Well, and so can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
So if they followed our code at a unit per acre, then they would actually be able to get 84 lots if they followed the code. So their yield, or their density, I should say, plus their yield, whichever way you want to look at it, their yield is netting them above a 1 acre.
But some of the lots are less.
Well, that's because of you got to put the streets in.
You
So,
got electrical power lines that go, the high power electrical lines, they got all that.
well, and they can't build underneath
And
those.
well, that's why. So some of the lots are less than an acre because they got to account for the electrical power lines. And then down on one end of the property is where the floodplain is. I don't know why they're allowed to develop down there near the part of
Well,
that.
they can't encroach on it because that's called state water, so they're restricted from being able to encroach on that. So anything they build will be outside that. Plus, you always have the issue with flood hazard, which they don't want to enter or build houses in a flood hazard area. So I can promise you their elevations are well above the flood area.
Well,
They're not going to build in a flood area. Can't sell homes in flood
It
areas.
said something on the actual thing. I don't know what it said about it, about the flood insurance and all. I saw it on the internet. I can't see it on that map. It says something about they'd have to get flood insurance.
It's just the map number. It's a flood insurance map number.
Right.
They're required to put on a plat.
Yeah.
Okay. but-
Yeah, I'm going to tell you with 1,000% certainty, they can't build in a flood area. It's prohibited.
Okay, I don't know
Okay.
why it said that, something about.
Well, that's just referencing the map area for that flood district. That's all it is. Yes, ma'am.
All right, well, anyway, that part of Walton County has much bigger lots and bigger houses. You're putting in a lot of little
Well,
stuff that
and
we
and let me ask you, and I just make this comment, I made it earlier too.
Yeah.
So when you make that comment, you're talking bigger lots, what, 2 acres?
5 acres.
5 acres? And how big a house?
I'm not bigger. I don't know. how
Yeah.
big-
Do you have children?
I did.
Do you have grandchildren?
2, yes.
Yeah. Could your grandchildren, when they graduate college, afford a $1.3 million home?
Well, I understand that, but I'm just saying,
We need housing that's affordable. This is really not small enough for me. I'd like to see them do something smaller, and he knows that. But we need affordable housing.
I know, we do, but we need it in certain areas. In other words, you shouldn't put them.
In other words, you don't want it next to you. That's,
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
They say affect property value. I think it does.
Yeah.
Anyway, I've said my piece. That's what.
Thank you so very much, ma'am. And I appreciate it. Anyone else to speak? Yes, ma'am, you come on. Just state your name and address for us and tell us what your concerns are.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. My name is Shannon Bailey. I'm at 1343 PJ East Road. The rear of my property adjoins the rear of the subdivision. And as I went and spoke to Sharna, the plat is not detailed correctly, so it does not have the 50-foot buffer on my property, buffering it, which is on the back. So on the sides of the properties, there's the 50-foot buffer that runs all the way on the sides of the subdivision. There are no homes on the other sides of the subdivisions. It's all pasture. The rear of the property that has 7 new homes from my home communities on the other side, and then the existing homes going down, we've all been there 30 years. So we would like the 50-foot buffer on the rear of the property as well.
Is that where we have R1 and R1 adjournment, Sharna?
It is.
So our code does not call for, because they're compatible, they're the same zoning, we would not require a buffer where we adjoin, in other words, have the same zone. It'd be like two people who bought farms beside each other. They don't have to formulate any kind of buffer between the two because they are similar zoning. So the same thing is true for the back of your neighborhood. You guys already have R1. They're requesting R1. So the requirement's not there for the buffer.
Well, Sharna, as we were discussing, that at least my lot should have.
Yours has. And they did, he just mentioned that. They did fix that. They realized they messed that up.
Yeah.
And they
Yeah, I think Ned mentioned that a while ago as well. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, but when we talked, it wasn't on there.
Yeah.
correct.
So if he did that, then he's got your lot taken care of, and I'm sure that's what concerns you most.
Yes, there are other people in the area, though.
Are they here?
They are not. One of them
Must not concern them too much.
they had emergency surgery this morning.
Oh, well, I can't, I mean, if they're not here, obviously, you know, we can't, and I understand what you're telling me, and I'm not saying that what you're telling me is not correct. I'm just saying, if they're not here or have a representative here, we have you in front of us, and we want to make sure we listen to you, and that what you've worked with Sharna on has been taken care of.
Okay, I would like to add one more thing.
Yes, ma'am.
That when this was posted and the signs went up and, waist-high grass that you couldn't even see what was going on in the signs. But besides that, it was supposed to be posted online, but whoever, Sharna, you have to tell me, pardon me, whoever it was that was supposed to put it online, went on vacation and did not post it online. So the information was not available to the public unless you actually came down to Sharna. So we would ask that it go for an additional 30 days so that people in the area can get the information.
Okay. I'm looking for the department to tell me that something was omitted in. Okay.
It was, when she was in my office that day, we did not see it, but when Tracy came back from vacation, it actually was online.
Okay,
But
okay.
I
So the requirement there is the public notice signage on the street and that it be ran in the newspaper, and that's the only things that we have to adhere to?
And the letters.
And the letters, yeah, letters that go to adjoining neighbors. Did you get a letter?
I got a letter, but other adjoining neighbors did not.
We do send out to everybody that touches it, and, but posting it on our website is something that we do.
Right, there's a courtesy, but not mandatory for us to decide, or,
by code.
yes.
But there is a sign out there.
There is a sign out there, yes. It was posted.
It's posted.
It's
Yeah,
not vertical.
I've got a picture of when the sign was posted. I know the grass grows on the side of the road, but it's visible in this picture.
We had a lot of rain recently, and grass has been growing.
A lot of rain.
Yeah, okay. Anything further, ma'am?
No.
You answered that real slow. Thank you, I appreciate it. Anyone else in opposition? If you come up and give me your name and address, I'd love to answer your question or allow somebody else to do so.
Okay, I'm June Gosling. I'm at 3701 Lovers Lane, and I'll be here at the next 2 meetings.
I know you very well.
So I'm just looking, because this applies for what we're going to be asking in the next meeting with something just posted by our property. Looking at where this is on the map, it looks like Youth Jersey's the line of conservation easement on on y'all's website for rural
Well, I think this
master
is,
plan zoning. It looks like it's the line, half of it's on,
I think this is Cornish Creek, is that right? Yeah, the opposite side of the road.
right. So the question is, on the master plan, is this in an area that is listed still green as conservation versus?
No,
No.
ma'am, it's suburban.
It is listed as
It is
suburban on the
suburban.
master plan. Okay, that was it. It's hard to tell on these maps. and
Yeah, yeah.
Want to be prepared for where the board is on this issue. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I met, the reason I said that, I recognize your name, is I met your husband several years ago. Yes. So, yeah, I built the house on the corner of Lovers Lane and Carl Davis where the barn's fallen. I built that years and years ago. That was my first home, so knew the people who had your property, and y'all have very beautiful place there. Thank you for your concern, ma'am. Anyone else in opposition or have a question? Anyone to speak on behalf of the applicant as a proponent? Mr. Butler, we will now have you come up and address some of the concerns that's been brought forward.
Yes, sir. All right, to address lot size, the way we chose this is we did look at the future land use map. It was shown as suburban. R1 OSC was allowable in that, so that's why we chose that type of zoning to request, and we've designed the subdivision to follow all terms of the code. So we tried to follow what the county had laid out as its plan for this property. So the parcel we purchased actually goes on both sides of the property. So it shows on the west side that it's suburban, but I've learned this from Sharon on another project in the county, that the ridge line is actually what separates the watershed district. So the west side, we will not do an R1 subdivision because will be in the watershed. So we're going to treat it as conservation, like the green area around it. This is all suburban in the pink, so that is why we chose to go with the R1 OSC. This is an R1 subdivision. You'll notice there's no open space. We prefer to do the OSC zoning, and in this case, I think we allow for 23 acres of open space that will not be developed and will not be owned by any residents. It'll be owned by a homeowners association. Ms. Bailey's property is this parcel right here. And so when we laid it out initially and turned it in, she is correct, we did not have a 50-foot buffer along this strip of property. Our proposal comes to the creek line here. And so Sharna reached out to us, and we went back and did add that 50-foot transition buffer around this corner here, all the way down here. This is not the updated plan, Ms. Bailey. I will give you a copy of the updated plan before we leave today. We were required to push this detention pond further south to not get into that 50-foot transition buffer. I will also say it's shaded on what I'll give you, Ms. Bailey, but this is access to the pond and the open space, and all this area behind these lots here is open space, and so it will not be developed. So you will have a pretty good buffer along the property line there. I think that touched on all the...
Right, and that would really be up and beyond the 50-foot. It's going to be quite substantial with the pond and the green space there. Can you see that up there, Miss Bailey?
I can, and I'm happy that green space is going to be there, but it's also, this is a 100-year floodplain.
Yeah, but it's protection for you on the, yeah. Right, well, yeah, but it is there, yeah, which is a good thing. Any other questions for the applicant? And I think you probably addressed everything that I had on my notes that were brought up. Thank you. With that, I will bring it back to the board for a motion.
I make a motion to approve case number 7250253 as submitted.
I have a motion, I have a second.
Chair, second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, raise your right hand and say aye. Aye. No opposition, all good. So this too will move to the Board of Commissioners on September the 2nd. Okay? Any public comment? Did anybody show up with any public comment? Wonderful. With that, I'll take a motion for adjournment.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, raise your right hand and say aye. Aye. Appreciate it, everyone. Thank you so much.